Hey guys, Frank Cropper here, Sacramento. I wanted to make my presentation on a video regarding the English Renaissance, that literature period, and more specifically William Shakespeare and his works during that time. Also known as the Elizabethan era. We know during that time, mid 1500s to maybe the first quarter of the 17th century, we have a lot of things going on. You know, the Renaissance starts proper in Italy in about 1490s, 1480s, but it takes a while to get to England. And by the time it gets to England, we have some other things happening. More of the scientific revolution, some inventions like the printing press, some other scientific breakthroughs like that. The Protestant Reformation, things like increased sea exploration, all kinds of things. So by the time the Renaissance gets to England, we have a lot of other cultural things at work. And so literature reflects the time period. Obviously, you can't create literature unless you've experienced it or you live within it somehow. And we see a lot of this with the English English Renaissance and Elizabethan era literature. And obviously, a lot of that begins and ends with William Shakespeare. Any discussion of this time period has to, of course, revolve around that. Now, I have down here some other things that are going on during that time. We have the standardization through the printing press of language. That really helps. You know, we have the transformation of the English language, which Shakespeare's a huge part of. Without his works and that sort of Elizabethan English and the stuff he uses in his plays and the printing press to really disseminate that information, we have a totally different English today. A lot of it is based on that time period. So we see this guy, William Shakespeare, really live in a time of upheaval in England. You know, not only is it the Renaissance, but we have the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. And so for the first time, we have a different world power in Europe, and it's England. And we sort of have this peace, you know, a Pax Romana, but it'd be like a Pax, an English peace, if you will. And people don't really know what to do. And William Shakespeare is interesting because he lives his adult life and really composes, writes, and enacts his plays during this really peaceful time of increased safety, increased money. We have the beginnings of capitalism at that time, so people are investing in plays and investing in theaters, the Globe Theater, and really it's sort of a perfect storm. So let's talk about William Shakespeare more in detail. He is not a man interested in ideas or great overarching theories. He's more of a man who's interested in people. And so you see a lot of his plays are named after people, explore people. Caesar, Hamlet, my favorite, which we'll talk about later, Macbeth. And you just see this person who likes to develop the human character. And I think a lot of that has to do with the time period, again, he was living in. We have these people who are trying to live and develop their lives in a brand new world. And it can be very interesting to say the least. So, you know, when I talk about Shakespeare, I think about Macbeth. Macbeth is not only my favorite Shakespearean play, but one of my favorite pieces of literature ever. And I'll tell you why. In high school, we read it, and I was just blown away. I reacted, I thought, differently to this play than everybody else did. And I'll tell you why. Macbeth, yes, he kills the king. He tries to get away with it. But I rooted for him the whole time. And I didn't know why at the time, but now I do, because Macbeth was made to be the quintessential tragic hero.